1989. And we're here on, quote, the old home place, which is now Clarksville, Indiana. But back in 1933, when this young lady was born, it was Sellersburg, Indiana.
I cannot believe it's the same place. Almost makes me cry the way to think about it. Is it really something?
Joyce Marie Kopp Poff is standing here, about in tears.
Well, you know, I can't even familiarize any trees yet. It just, and to see these trailers sitting right here on the line.
They weren't here back in 1933, were they, Mom?
No, that was a field of hay. The Wilford used to help Mr. Pixley bale hay over there. And Grandma, she's way out here.
We better walk this way. Okay, let's walk as
we got 33 acres to cover.
Grandma, Steve said if you find any mushrooms, to be sure and send them.
Mom? That cedar tree wasn't there, was it? And that old tree there? That's an old tree. This tree was there. This tree was there. Yeah, that's where that was the old home.
Gran, now tell us.
What happened?
What was I telling her? I forgot what I had.
You went over there, Miss Hatfield.
Oh, I was over to Miss Hatfield's one day, and I started back across the field, and I saw something. I thought it was a colored man going along the fence there, you know. And I got over there, and here was this goat. Your grandpa had gone and got a black goat. Going along the fence eating my rose bush, all my roses off the fence.
And she got so mad.
I said, either that goat goes or you go.
That's how I got my finger cut off, because that billy goat had to be watered. And I got the cream can lid to fill it full of water to water the billy goat. And when I was going out the door, the wind blew the screen door shut and cut my finger off.
Didn't
It was hanging back.
Yeah.
And Mom said I just fell on the kitchen floor and kicked up my heels and said I'm dead. Then you went to the doctor. Terry. Then you went to the doctor. Oh, it's bomb.
She did what, Grandma?
She cussed and she cussed.
Well, now, Mom, I had to hear that from somebody. I was just like, how old?
Eddie Taylor helped her. He lived neighbor over here. She come and took me to the doctor, and she helped to hold her down on the table. And she was a kind of a heavy woman.
I'm looking at me.
She would stand there and she'd laugh so hard. But every time she got a little louder and louder until they heard her out in the reception room, and they had to run everybody out of the reception room.
But now I don't remember none of that. Actually, to tell you the truth, all I remember, I couldn't tell you. I don't have any memory of that. I just have memory of going out that door.
You know, and
I really don't remember anything else.
Recently.
Thank goodness.
There's been a mole. See how fresh that is?
Yeah.
Dirt.
Boy.
Cherry, I wish you wouldn't do that.
But anyway, you know, looks like the branches curved around different.
Hey, look at that stuff on the fence.
I don't know, but we used to go to Oxford over there. What's the feeling here?
On the other side of the creek. Oh, gee, the line went up through them to the road up there.
And this corner over here is where we used to go to Ott's and Ethel's. And
Who's Ott and Ethel?
Kaler, and
they were our
Eunice
neighbors.
and who's Eunice's sister?
Lucille.
Lucille and Eunice lived over there. There's two girls. They were older than I was. But that was on the way to Helen's house, too, the shortcut to Helen's house.
And where was Helen's house then?
Well, it was, well, you know, as you come in there at Indian Oaks,
It's right there.
right about the entrance where Indian Oaks is.
Ah.
It's where their house and barn and there's it was all woods back in there. And of course the woods extended just right to over here, and that's where Grandma used to hunt mushrooms.
And we had a bunch of wild duck, the Muscovy ducks, and they'd go down here and lay eggs in this branch. At first, they got so they would build their nest, but...
Yeah. There was something else buried down there in that branch, too, wasn't there?
What is it? What was it, Mother? What was it?
I never could do anything before I got caught.
Get down there by the branch where you tell that.
Well, I'm not going through here and bring feed down to the cows, and spread it out. And that gate that we just come through, there was a gate up there. I tell you, it was yay wide. She started through that with that truck, and she just took the whole side of that gate off.
Mother.
No more driving that.
No wonder she never really gave us too hard a way to go, Tara. She knew what it was like.
Just beg.
Well, that's about as bad as I was teaching her to drive, and we were going up there, where we come off of Hamburg Pike, up there, it was Hamburg Pike then, and I said, we got up there almost to it, I said, now Joyce, slow up, because you got to stop. She said, I will, and we got right up to it, and zoop, and it was like throwing me through. We went on down the Pixley, we were going down there, and they were out there working on the house something, and I said, slow up, Joyce, to turn in. A zoom. She just went right at the house. I can't stop. I can come back. We went down there, turned around, come back. And by that time, they had all run around the house, and he and Dad didn't want to be out there.
Terry, no wonder she didn't get so mad when you ran up over that fence.
Bless her heart. You went through it too, didn't you, Mom?
Yes, I mean, it was really hard when you can't get them vehicles. I just...
Well, now tell us about who was buried down here in the branch.
We're going to the plate.
Okay, we're going to the plate.
Well, we're down there.
Jeff said she went to Kmart, and he didn't know what she had in mind.
So now, Mom, tell us why you didn't like living out in the country.
I think it just always seemed so far away from everything. And I didn't have anybody to play with, really. Alice and Betty played together, and they was, younger than I was. And me and Helen just done everything together. And I didn't like the farm work. I didn't like to get out when it was cold and do it, go get the cows, milk them and all that, and I didn't like to do it in the summertime because the cows was always swatting you with their tail and flies were swarming all over them, and I just was not too excited about it as a young girl and a teenager.
You would have fit in real good with the class I took last semester, Mom.
Really?
We talked about small town life and people's...
Well, everybody always said that they thought that I would be the country girl and that Helen was the city girl. But as it turned out, I went to the city and she stayed on the farm.
Well...
So, you just never know what's in store for you. It's the only thing I know. In places it was pretty deep, and
I was
places
going to say
it was
I'd
small.
have to see how big it was over here.
Yeah.
After all, 34 years has been a long time. I've got the same thing on that I had on at Easter when they took it. I sure have. Well, Mama, see, I have something different on and then I changed it.
But Mom, right down here is where... Took their baths and
Who did?
the cows.
Oh, I thought you meant... I thought you meant Uncle Ray and Uncle Wilford. And
Well, before we done swimming.
they come down here.
Yeah.
you did swim down
And
here?
Uncle Ray come down here.
He
He
get
got a
washed
pair of
up.
new skates for Christmas one year. He come down here and he took a flop on his wrist. Oh, and he never did put them skates on again, I don't think.
Oh.
Now, what is a single
I think it was.
Look at that mushroom, Joy.
Oh my.
Look
Grandma,
how the water's been up there, look.
Mom,
It's getting cold
tell them
now.
what a single tree is.
What is that?
A single tree is what you hook on the back of a, like if you have a wagon and you're going to hook the horses in. A single tree is what you hook them to.
Oh.
Well, one day after she cut that finger that she was telling you about,
Oh, is it
I had to keep the truck home and take her to the doctor. So I took her to the doctor and got back home. It was getting fall of the year and drizzly rain, and I thought, well, while I've got the truck home, I believe I'll drive down here in the woods. We had so much dead limbs and all, and we always had fire, you know, stoves. I'll get a bunch of firewood for winter and store it away. Well, drove down in the bottom, and it had just rained enough I got stuck. So I thought, well, I'd wait till the boys come home from school and we try to push the truck out. Well, the boys come home from school and couldn't push the truck out for anything. So I said, will you run up and hook up one of the horses, or, well, we had them both, hook the horses up and come down, we'll pull the truck out.
Beauty and Nellie?
Well, hooked up old Beauty and Nellie and come down here and couldn't budge it, and all at once one of them single trees broke. And I thought, well, I've had it now.
Well,
So
that
I
was
thought,
major stuff.
well, we've got several single trees up there in the barn. I'll just take it over here and bury it in the sand. And nobody will ever know the difference. So by that time, it was too late. I always went and got your grandpa over at the highway. He had a ride there, so I couldn't go get him. He had to walk home. Well, that wasn't too bad. I told him that we got stuck and I couldn't get the truck out. So I got up the next morning. He said, boys, let's hook up the horses and go down and pull that truck out. And I said, oh, we don't need to do that. Well, no, I didn't say anything then, but he got the truck started. He said, well, while we're down here, let's get a load of gravel and fill in the spare spaces around the house that needed some gravel. I said, oh, we can do that anytime. We don't have to do that today. No, while we're down here, let's go ahead and do it. And the first shovelful he took,
That went to the very spot.
what should come up at that single tree that I'd buried?
Oh, boy, listen, that was major stuff.
Uh-oh.
But anyway,
What happened?
I finally lived it down.
You never did really own up to it, did you? Only the shadow knows.
I can't divulge all of my secrets.
Tar marks right there. Oh, goodness. Yep, I do believe this is the place it happened, isn't it?
Somebody has been going across there.
Uh-huh.
Don't get too muddy, Kev.
Can you get that stream, Sherry? It's so pretty.
I think I got some of it, yeah.
It's just amazing.
We bought this place for $2,000 when we moved out there in
You bought 33 acres for
the
$2,000?
Depression was on, and yeah, we got and paid the $50 every 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my heaven.
Didn't you say, Mom, when that first, you moved out like here in the fall of the year, and how bare everything was?
Yeah, we got a cow, but she was dry. She went to the farm, but she was dry. And they
Wow.
had planted potatoes, and we got a third of them for digging them.
Oh my.
And
There was Ray and Wilford, and you was pregnant with me. I wasn't born until the
and
following
that
July.
cow was so cold that winter.
Do they not have a barn?
Yeah, we had a big barn. Our big barn burned down.
How did it burn down?
We don't know. One minute Dallas would say, I struck a match and I throwed it. And then the next time he'd say, I didn't do it. They were just small.
Oh
They
my.
ran away over there where the trailers are. And that's where they took off and was running away one day.
Oh no, they headed back through there to Aunt Kayla's.
Oh, they headed on?
They got over there. She brought them back. They got all the way over there.
I was thinking they headed to Rayleigh.
No, I don't know. Your dad and some of them were working out in the garden. I don't know who all. And I was fixing lunch, and I just thought the twins were out there with them, and I called them for lunch, and of course they weren't anywhere around. And we started looking for them and hollering, and here come Ethel Kayla with them. She said they were going hand in hand along, just a jabbering up a storm to each other. But she said, I don't know where they were heading for. She said, I had the time of talking them into turning around and coming back.
So about how old was it?
Oh, gosh, I don't know, maybe 3 years old or something like that.
See, they've always been just so full of mischief.
I know they weren't very big. They were just old enough to go along holding each other's hands and chattering away. Well,
Record, and then when we're ready to stop, you just push it again.
Gotcha. You want me to stop?
Okay, you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. 1, 2, da, 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 la, 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 la. Get on the farm again. Yeah.
That's enough, girl.
Stop.
Especially during the night.
Well,
Or the winter.
it was kind of cold, but we had a slop jar we used through the night and then took it out and emptied it in the morning.
Well, I want to tell you
Was that your job, Mom?
something you probably would never think of. But when it's winter time and you sit down and put that out there and that cold air comes up from below, whoo, boy, it's bad. And the thing about it is, you know what cold air does to you. So you no more and get out and get in the cold air and beat it back to the house and get in the warm bed. But when that cold air hits you, you got to go get it. So it's not very long, you're back out there again.
Oh, my.
It's just a never-ending thing.
Who had to empty those jars, Mom?
Well, I've had to, and I'm sure wasn't the only one. I've had to. Yeah, we just take a bath in the galvanized tub around the back of the house.
Yes.
And,
In the winter?
oh, no, not in the winter.
What'd you do in the winter?
Spit bath.
Oh, gosh.
On the other side of the branch.
Take a pan of water and go in your bedroom. The community bedroom.
For all the privacy that was
Yeah,
worth, huh?
and declare all rights for 15 minutes. And, I mean, you better hurry, too. And you usually did, because, I mean, you know, if it was cold, you wanted to get it over with. If it was hot, it was just about the same story, because you're always in a hurry for the next one to come in to get ready to go somewhere. And I think back now how that was. And I think, golly, did we really do all that?
You made it.
I made it.
No
Probably
wonder
learned
you
a lot from just doing that too, you know. But at the time, just like everybody else, you know, you probably didn't know much the difference in what you did. You know, you didn't like, but there wasn't anything you could do about it.
Well, no wonder you became a city girl.
Yeah, that city girl that I didn't know I was going to become. What's that?
That city girl, she didn't know she was going to become.
That's right. I didn't know I was going to move to the city.
I listened.
Well, did you really want to give me one? Thank you.
I want to tell you, Ray and Wilford used to
You didn't ask him to.
go down here and go.
Now, Drake lives right across here.
Yeah.
And Johnny Drake and Ray, and I don't know who else was involved in it. Broke ice on their pond.
Don't start it.
Oh my God.
Hang it out there until, you know, cold weather, and then we cut it down and take the halves inside. They'd all go to school, and he'd go to work, and there I was canning beef all day long. Cut that beef and canning it.
All by herself.
Oh, my
Out
Say
here
hi,
on this
Sherry.
old farm with no
Hi,
running
Sherry.
water, no inside plumbing.
But boy, we had some good eating through the winter.
Terry.
I want to know, where was the outhouse?
right on this side of where that red building is. See right over here.
If you go up there where the grass is the greenest, is probably where it was.
That'd be a good place to go pick back there.
Clear back to Carter's home. Yeah, she said she could never remember about it. But cistern water you couldn't drink. This was our drinking water.
What did you do with the cistern?
Wash dishes and wash clothes.
We didn't have that though for a long time, did we? We just had this well water. And the pump had a, well, where you get a drink. You know, put your hand down, you get your drink. But she said that they still keep a jug of this water
How did they
in
get
their
it?
house, even though they've got running water.
How did they get it?
I don't know.
There's
That's
like-
what she just said.
Yeah, she did.
Didn't she?
Maybe you lift this off and they come
Well, I wouldn't think you'd do that every day, though, would you?
No.
Do it that often.
No.
But when we come up the road and everything,
She said they had it piped in. Did she say they had it
I
piped
had it piped in right before we moved.
oh, that's what it is.
Your dad was gone once. I don't remember where he
in? Well,
was,
it
but
was on a string or something.
It must be because she said it never went dry.
it never did. It never did. But we were here.
We never did ever have it go dry.
We
They said that ground was
we cleaned
We
it
come
out
up-
once and found two
Hey.
nickels,
you
19 and
doing?
7 down in there. But I don't know. I had them for a long time, but I don't know whatever happened to them.
Really? We come up that lane, walk up that lane, and in hot weather and everything, and you'd get to right here, you'd drop down here, pump the water and run it all over your hands and your face, and get you a good cold drink, and then you could make it up the hill to the house.
You can't hardly
That
imagine
doesn't seem
what.
that far, Ma.
Well,
You
I
can't
know
imagine
it
what that
doesn't.
house looked like before.
Harry, you doing okay?
Oh,
Huh?
it doesn't. Where the mailbox is. And on a lot of course, I wouldn't miss being on that church bus, you know. And
Because you
I
would
li-
go to church and you just want to see
well, I like
because,
to
see
think that
that
I really
church
was
bus?
spiritual, but I actually wanted to be with Helen most of the time and everybody
Well,
else.
she wanted to go because the church bus ran downhill, but it wouldn't run up.
But anyway, when I'd get off that church bus at night, when I had went by myself, and it'd be so pitch black out here. I mean, sometimes, you know, there wouldn't be a star out or anything. And I mean, it'd be so pitch black, and we didn't have lights and stuff like that up here. And I'd come up that road, and I mean, I couldn't even see this. And I'd be so scared, and I'd bow and bow
Well,
that I never was going to
She
go by
couldn't even
myself
see
again.
me because I was going down there to meet her one time, and she took up off with a hill yelling. I said, George, it's me.
Oh, she just scared me so bad. And I just was petrified.
Carrie, look, I'm
Next Monday night, I'd be
You'd
on
go
there
again. Well, your brothers didn't go? Or?
Oh, yes, they did, but I think back then they was like getting into basketball.
Well, that, and sometimes her dad worked till after dark, and they had to be up there.
Yeah, and they didn't always get to get dressed and go.
red button.
Yeah, you just push it again, here.
I should shout.
I don't know, Gran.
Well, I was going to tell you about when when Rayleigh's lived in that house at the top of the hill, that big house. There was a man and a woman. They had a son named Bill, and Betty. Wait a minute.
Come here, Liz. Come here,
I
honey.
was going to tell you about Betty. She never did like to have her hair combed. Hit the tangles, and I'd start combing her hair and hit a tangle, and she'd holler, Bill Rayleigh, Mom's a hurting me. And she'd just keep it getting louder and louder. And sometimes I think he heard her because he'd look at me awfully funny when I'd see him. But I don't know. She was something else.
She didn't report you to the authorities or anything?
I was afraid he was going to. Well, I guess, are you about ready to head back for Sellersburg?
That sounds good to me.
Oh,
Are we going,
I
Grandma?
almost forgot what I was going to say when I saw Melissa.
I know it.
It
I know
wouldn't
it.
have made any difference. Oh,
Say goodbye to the old home place.
bye to the old home place till the next time we see you.
That's right. Bye, folks.
Bye.